press conference and which you wouldn't and resign, you know. At the time wow pe and resign, you know. You need to impress on Oforiata. So ombra no ombra meyina no. Other than that, the notion, the perception which is being created is that MPP are corrupt to the point that Omo finance minister ntimi mma no. Make a sense so from 1992 besine there has not been a single MPP appointee yet jailing for the act of causing financial loss to the state or yet corruption. So for Foriata Madia, ye need any bargaining chip, ya bargaining power bia. I bet me I can say NDC ye corrupt. It is another kufado with the greatest of respect. Won't me ma hiding behind the idea of miyare, meyare. Politics perception is equally important as a reality. And the perception being created is that MPP are corrupt. Etikache unyane se womra. Omeyina no. I know say Attorney General when you are going to fight corruption. Because if indeed Attorney General wants to fight corruption, then he can try Oforiata in absentia. If they said the name Tamakulu, yeah, try no. Now said the name Tamakulu, said the name I know ni ho. But you try no. Ejelino. Abayi ba ye onye interested. Abayi also fight corruption. Obaye onye interested. Now the trail of prosecutions, the truth, woman said National Democratic Congress, ye fisa omo ye corrupt party. Because from President Kufuor time, ebesine, ye intimin for one single MPP nibiantum, and ye don't when the NDC is in power, corruption thrives. When they are out of power, accountability catches up with them. If this is the time when MPP I am in support. Say any day, any time. Say any day, any time. If say MPP for baby we are at the can Oforiata tell your friend say Ababa friend say Minya Bay. Oh, a national service in your friend say give to a worry. Say give to a worry you. Say why you? So Omaba Ababe we are Mount Fonisika. They should be arrested and be jailed. Any day, any time. Because MPP nye breeding grounds for criminals. Ye kwakwa sere tumi free manfo ne ho. Se ye pe tumi ni aba be so manfo no. Be bia no ye ka kire manfo no se moma ye tumi ni amra mewia mo. Manfo ne ma tumi se bra be so mo a, omo ye wo honor. They've given you the chance to be a minister. They've given you the chance to be a CEO. They've given you the chance to be a deputy CEO, deputy minister. And sa portfolio no na would need before. It is a nyamia wa domina ba betena sa akonwa ni mu a. Emu achede a wunya ye nchew because of wo ofe. Munyina mbedi adanse a mufra ban mu. Christmas hampers ana munya bio. Because those things were not meant for you. It was meant for the office. Emu sika gift ana munya bio. Because those things were not meant for you. It was meant for your office. In that same vein, if the people have honored you, se brabe somo na wunya mu adodo die say na wuye greedy, overly greedy. Now say there be still now be use the position the people have given you to siphon money, steal money, to rob the people of the little they can also benefit from. Won't me man be hide behind the party MPP. Now fanko we are there. And I'll be in support of that any day, any time. If it's a make Afrifa metie. Se minya kwanya se meso manfo no any day any time wa. Me wia ese mitimi there any aban bia wote so. Se me ba so manfo no se me wia manfo no a jail me. Untimi nya sa na wo hide na akoye na mekokati deal and a plea bargain in 30%. Wo ye kromfo you must be jailed. But the records also shows that between NPP and NDC, NDC is more corrupt than NPP. No dear, umpel. The record shows that between NPP and NDC, NDC is more corrupt than NPP. And in America, we will take you down memory lane from President Kufuor era. Edebabesi a year and neya ye kasei. Every time I did to me bema NDC say omumra medi to me biano. Omube free so no omo wi amamfo say tam. Omo wi amamfo to the point that ye jail be am ya mo presidential amnesty. It yentimi en washe sa ankrofo we. Now all of a sudden they climbed the moral high ground. So during President Kufuor time, after Jeje Som Ewie, several top NDC officials who served under the Rawlings administration were prosecuted and jailed for causing financial loss to the state. When you small cases, when you petty infractions, these were massive scandals. It costed Ghana millions of cedis. Now the first among them, Owura Kwame Pepra. Eti Owura Kwame Pepra ene de hei. Owura Kwame Pepra a former Minister of Finance. In 2003, mo nyini ye no ene ye kai mo ye de mo cut down memory lane. In 2003, under President Kufuor, time was ankrofo yi som eye oman ni wie ye 20 million Ghana cedi causing financial loss to the state. In 2003, Kwame Pepra was jailed 4 years. So between MPP and NDC, if we are looking at the most corrupt party, it is NDC and not NPP. In 2003, Nyamenameka, the record is there. Quality grain scandal, it was there. We all saw it. Owura Kwame Pepra, former Minister of Finance, Uwie Najuma, Yenyina ye aware, say Oko jail 4 years. Now, when you Owura Kwame Pepra free wa, to prove that between MPP and NDC, NDC is more corrupt than MPP. And your Owura Kwame Pepra nkwa ni ko jail. President Kufuor time, your friend Papa way a year Victor Solomi. Gen Z for na mabano. You must learn your history. Victor Solomi echo jail. Were properly convicted court. Convicted in the same quality grain scandal no, or survey time President Kufuor na emso man no pardon o said say was wo yare into man pardon. It between MPP and NDC from 1992 ebesi ne. NDC is more corrupt than NPP. NDC ye mo makonya bia so momra medi o man so a wo mbe sore no ma wi o man say tam. Nobody is going to sit down for them to whitewash themselves and climb the moral high ground. Now, uyi omu free wa. Papa we your friend Dan Agbodakwi. Obaba ye, said the national chairman hopeful also. Meaning so you minkai the memory. Former Minister of Trade. He was sentenced 10 years in jail 2007 for conspiracy, defrauding and causing financial loss to the tune of $400,000 to the state. It yet mean trauma NDC way and whitewashing home. Na ochina omo meka so omo na ye party a omo dwene manfo ne ho ene fine oforiata na am yenya ye enye oforiata na am yenya ye dia between MPP and NDC ope party omo ya mambofo omo ya kronfo ewia manfo ne pa anytime ye be ma omo tumia from 1992 besi ne ye ntimi mfa MPP ni bia nto jail se wo ye kronfo en maka se Kufuor do aban ne ye hwehwem na MPP ni bi ye kronfo omu a ya anti MPP ni say ya kronfo party momfa ne nkoto jail ya no bia me hide we criminal don't come and hide behind a NPP ye na nanom ate no manga so mo te eme ye de akobokro no ye kwosere manfo ni tumi no nemum the record shows that omo ya kronfo pa wo Ghanaian politics mu a omo the record shows that omo wi amanfo no akose financial loss a Owura Dan Agbodakwi was convicted by a court of competent court of a jurisdiction. Anya attorney general DAB. Eti Dan Agbodakwi Gen Z for no oko jail. Na yenyi eno emfiri ho. Na yen state on record. Owura chachu chikata between MPP and NDC. the most corrupt political party Owia Manfono. In 2008, former GMPC boss Chachuchi Kata caused financial loss to the state. Emma ye jailino humanitarian grounds in the pardon, but Menowoka say Chachuchi Kata was jailed for causing financial loss to the state. Now Ibrahim Adam, former Minister of Agriculture, was also jailed in connection with a quality grain scandal. So we cannot sit down as a nation and all of a sudden the NDC that we know, very corrupt bunch of people, would whitewash themselves and begin to climb the moral high ground and say, NPP is not a corrupt political party. The records are there to show. NPP is not a corrupt political party. They say, President Kufuor era yede eye Chachuchi Kata etum, yede eye Victor Solomon etum, yede Kwame Pepra etum, yede Dan Abodakwi etum. These are records. Ubufua, when you can argue with your phone, and America. The record shows that they are corrupt, they are thieves, they stole from the people, and these are public records. There is no single MPP person you did not add to jail for corruption. Now, Uyi Enufriwa, in recent times, under President Eye Akufo-Addo, Senokra na Ache, Jomama #1, Efriso, in recent times, under President Akufo-Addo, many umienu nyina ya aware, say Abu Gapeli, Enyamena Meka, the records are there to show, say Abu Gapeli was jailed. Tienye, Mahama #1 appointees, they were prosecuted for 772 million Ghana cedi scandal, the NCA scandal. Abu Gapeli could jail on it. So we say between MPP and the NDC, the most corrupt political party, the records must show, the records must indicate that it is clearly not a MPP and a corrupt. NDC is the most corrupt political party in Ghanaian history. You can argue with your phones. I don't care. Ubufua won't say me the records na echere wo. Ma nkofa no baby a me the records ana echere wo. Enti obia metwa ntro entumfutro nwani. NDC is corrupt. NCA scandal no. 5 individuals. Eugene Bafu Boni, former board chair of NCA, was jailed. Nyamena Meka, makachere and Nyamena Meka, the records is there to show. Abu Gapeli. One Eugene Bafu Boni mo. They went to jail. William Tetetiabi, Director General, Emma NCA. Alhaji Salifu Mimina Osman, Deputy National Security Advisor. Nana Owusu Ensao, Board Member. George Derek Opong. They were prosecuted in the roles of Omu player. Obia Oye corrupt between MPP and NDC. The record shows that NDC is more corrupt than NPP. In recent times, Opuni Tienye Tie Adeweyi Opuni and Collins Dada Sedu Agongo, they were charged. Prima facie case were found against them. According to prosecutors, over 40 million, 70 million, 98 million plus. And I say a different or more. And NDC, your prosecutor or more do some point, NDC now was about war fighting corruption. Or by was one to scandal, a one to a prosecution. So now, and a Thompson scandal, there were prima facie case against them. But Attorney General said on to us so. And Thompson snit causing financial loss to the state. And no Attorney General said on to us what discontinued case, Ope omo ye corrupter. Sedinam Tamakulu at Yonu were a member of the NDC and court at Jailino. Still, NDC so monko fanema. Ufuriata so ma be topic. But NDC so monko fanema. M1 be serving a sentence. So the record shows that between MPP and NDC, Opo mo ya kromfo wi amamfo no enye NPP, enye NDC. Let nobody begin to brand the MPP as corrupt. Erikaka, your Okroma say venture capital, Daniel Duku, former CEO, and also your Nico Gina Court, Attorney General Bayeno, or say on to us. And the Ebeko heard the reasoning behind Attorney General say on to us. Total loss of 42.8 million. Attorney General say on to us. So between MPP and NDC, and Mofra, Gen Zs, you pay the most corrupt we are mine pa and NPP and NDC. Even in recent times, double salary scandal. President Akufo-Addo period. 30 NDC MPs collected double salary. Tienye, na Akufo-Addo na ankasa so ye blame you. And you might be your friends and family. Ministers of state are no more members of parliament under John Dramani Mahama #1 for 4 consecutive terms. The MPP government took the matter, and what happened? Of course, President Akufo-Addo achew. President Akufo-Addo yesrew say no omo sunim so omo ba be wienti no ma nya omo hwi no said you. And yes, adia. The record shows that double salary scandal no. There were members of parliament who were double salary. For 4 years, and they almost 1 year proponent of a probity, accountability, and social justice. Probity, accountability, and social justice, but they were stealing from the people. They were taking double salary. And today, the same people want to lecture Ghanaians on governance. The same people want to lecture us on who is corrupt. NDC corruption is not mere allegations, and your propaganda, and your documentary. This is pure a documented history of our nation. Say between MPP and NDC. Ope omo cause financial loss. Omo defrauded the state. Omo procurement breaches, diversion of public funds, and repeated prosecutions. There is no one single MPP a year appointee at Wako jail since 1992 based there. It will be to me make us MPP a corrupt party. MPP a corrupt party. MPP will be a medical car. So being so under Akufo-Addo aban, will be there. Owia man for no. Attorney General should stop this behavior of plea bargain and makoje 30%. Now makoje na meji 60, na meji 30. Oya sa wo je 30% ni ade. Ana do make market for man say. Me musa Attorney General say. Sa 30% na aka no one na ekoche. Enye na make. Attorney General say prosecutions ni bu ho beji mu 70, beji 1% plea bargain. But what you know na makola man so Attorney General the oye de ya koyesa say see the 30%, 70% ne ba. Ene na akọwiese bekwa akọwiese. Enyam na meka. The market for man na eka. So Attorney General will pen o match 30% nam so Attorney General do want sa. No so Okatakye kura so ye ka asema wonyi ntum. Want sa say. Ti masan Attorney General ti. But the record shows that so will be a real man for no munjeli no. We are not a bunch of criminals forming a political party. Our political party was not formed to come and steal from anyone. It is a Hasman was a Asamu Buffer Stockman, so a real man for no and your propaganda in the media. Monfan nem court. Namunko prove beyond reasonable doubt. Where we are man for a mama court in Injelino. MPP ni na asa woni menya adwene on this position eye wo wasem enyam asem me say obi a ye ma ne tumi so onso manfo no a wawi amanfo ne bia monjeli no asa de be ye no hu no say attorney general ne nkrofo o monye wo madwene say wo mbe jeli obi a no. We are going to move to our next topic of a year attorney general nkomobia omudi ye la say mo be kai say omo ba ye na no omudi ora meboa wenim ora no hwenim. But before see ebeko ora no so ye intercepted document be from a year Bank of Ghana. So that document way shows that Bank of Ghana is trying to recapitalize or more form can say recapitalize a year the Diaben market. But Attorney General Domlevo ora. And this propaganda ayo mo de chen so mbe ye adwuma. Yere ora Domlevo ebisa question bi. Domlevo yanko.
Major concern about the ORA is that it is not going to be successful if we keep or maintain the same legal framework and institutional arrangements for fighting corruption. And my major concern about the ORA is that it is not going to be successful if we keep or maintain the same legal framework and institutional arrangements for fighting corruption and corruption-related issues. What am I talking about? As we speak today, or as you and me, we are having this discussion, to establish guilt against someone for financial crimes, the person, it must be proven by prosecution beyond reasonable doubt. And financial crimes or corruption and corruption-related issues are not issues that are very easy to establish beyond reasonable doubt. Because the perpetrators of this type of crime are very intelligent and sophisticated persons. And after receiving the proceeds of crime, they are also able to manipulate evidence, even including influencing the investigators and the prosecution, and at times even the judges. So it is not going to be easy. So I think the low-hanging fruit, which are not being plugged, is what my major concerns, my concerns are about. One, if we had changed the legal framework, said that for corruption and corruption-related cases of financial crimes, one does not need to prove beyond reasonable doubt. Once it can be established that Daniel is in possession of resources or assets that do not match his known sources of income, then the onus should shift to Daniel to prove to us how he or she got it, if it's a lady. So if we do that, a reverse burden or lifestyle audit or unexplained wealth, I am sure that alone can deter people who intend even stealing. And of course, those who have stolen, we can easily get them to refund the money to us and maybe punish them.
So we aye owura Demlevo on some penny forecast and say wontimi unioma wo se wo kashiri ana enye. The basic principle of law when it comes to proving for criminal cases, proving beyond all reasonable doubt. And the reason, the basic principle of law, which seeks to protect innocent people, is that it will be better, say we save hundreds of criminals, na than see one innocent person akoda jail. It's a one innocent person ko jailer. That means we've not done justice to that person. So improving criminal matters, unlike improving civil matters, which is probabilities, balance of probabilities. Here you need to prove beyond all reasonable doubt. Domlevo ya aware said that is the basic principle of criminal cases. Nebomuno omuntimi omoniomenti. Ura Domlevo as a young shifty the onus, the burden of proof no. Yes, shifting free a year the prosecutor. Near fan call the accused. Said ye accuse when we find unfounded allegations, you drag the person to court, you have no fact, you have no evidence against the person, and the person now must come and explain unexplained wealth to the state. There is a reason here, Okwa prove even criminal case here. Court no ma can establish a prima facie case. Because we don't want you to waste the court's time. There is too much cases as a court in the daily. Now, if we go the way now, Domlevo Kana, what then will happen is that Attorney General Biamuso OKATAKYIE matoka, the car no effect, medan effect, this, that. Adechi no drag me to court. Or drag me to court, only evidence, only fact. Then we catch a court and say, baby, I'm agreement to improve my case. It's mama the accused numum improve why only dying only car. This is a separate matter. That is why Iyoko is there. If you want people to explain a year or more wealth, acquisition of wealth, you can file a complaint to Iyoko. Organize economic and organize a year debe. But when you go to court on the basis that somebody is corrupt, then you cannot shift the simple basic principle of law that he who accuses must prove. This is simple. This is simple. He who accuses must prove. Also, there be shifting the balance. Now, the entire moment to prove your case, you know. Attorney General.
Brother Demlevo, complain about the slowness of the investigation.
He's been consistent with that complaint.
Well, that is for me very disconcerting and very concerning. Because my senior brother Demlevo, complain about the slowness of the investigation.
He's been consistent with that complaint.
Well, that is for me very disconcerting and very concerning, because their report was just bare bone allegations, right? And I cannot take bare bone allegations to court.
Okay, so when you're in America, if a year already Demlevo say yes, sir, the burden of proof. The only reason Domlevo is calling that the burden of proof should shift to the accused instead of the prosecution, and say Domlevo more report the come Attorney General some kwase report. Him ake and drone konkonsa and the wumo and enyame make Attorney General no mu asem clean yentini view.
Brother Demlevo, complain about the slowness of the investigation.
He's been consistent with that complaint.
Well, that is for me very disconcerting and very concerning, because their report was just bare bone allegations, right? And I cannot take bare bone allegations to court.
Their report were bare bone allegations, and I cannot take bare bone allegations to court. So it is not about shifting the burden of proof. Ora Demlevo nim say enyoma na omo gigi ye ora omo printing ye papers akese omo say ye papers oni okuja 23 say mirror of justice omo wasting your time ene ayi sa akoye wa ne ho ayi moral judge ayi Martin Kpebu lawyer Martin Kpebu omo wasting your time no enkonkonsan ko no mkotie hwi nim ensuo nim bare bone allegations. This is the Attorney General speaking, not me. No Kwame Afrifa Mensah, you may not like me, but clearly I am not the one speaking. Attorney General said, "Ye Domlevo mo de ba ye no, eye sankwas nsimhunu manfo na beye what is say? Hwinim paper tenten no mo printing no mo submit joma ama no mo deceive joma ama. Enyama na meka. Yenti Attorney General biu."
Demlevo, complain about the slowness of the investigation.
He's been consistent with that complaint.
Well, that is for me very disconcerting and very concerning, because their report was just bare bone allegations, right? And I cannot take bare bone allegations to court.
Ora no insuanim. Okuya trosi ye benya 21 billion ama Ghana. Attorney General say insuani ora nim. Just afi no na odi insuo. But the Attorney General yemusa question. if these are bare bone allegations, why the press conferences? Because the public who deceive you. You, the Attorney General, under Article 88(3), is solely responsible for initiating a year conduct and conducting of prosecutions. But an Attorney General, every citizen in Ghana, Oba no aba be press conference. No jailing microphone. Utimi ka say a former national security coordinator or a part of the scandal. No one make a pronouncement to the effect that they are thieves. This is thievery. But Attorney General, you know that these are legal conclusory remarks. When a lawyer who is an Attorney General prosecuting a case begins to make pronouncement as though he is the court, before a pronouncement can be made to the effect that somebody is a thief or otherwise, it is only a court of competent jurisdiction that has the jurisdiction and the authority to make such conclusory remarks and pronouncements. Now, when we have an Attorney General who has the duty to prove the case in court, that's how Attorney General will make a conclusory statement like this is thievery. They are thieves. It is worrying. So if over 200 cases of alleged looting exist, the Attorney General is required to be investigating. But on our also should be any. Now, you're sorry for the Attorney General view.
21 billion. About how much do you realistically estimate that you can achieve for the country?
Okay, so let's start with the oral report. The oral report was in segments, and 2,000 and plus cases that you are talking about came out of the various segments. So, for instance, if you take the land, right? You take the land looting cases; they are one component, okay, of the oral cases. Not all of them. I can say this with certainty. Not all of them will end up, going to court, right? There will be some of them. There are some of them. We are. Realizing that the evidence, okay, because the oral report was a collection of allegations, a collection of complaints, and that is why I find it a bit disconcerting. When people like my brother, my senior brother Demlevo, complain about the slowness of the investigation.
He's been consistent with that complaint.
Well, that.
Attorney General, yes, Attorney General on another thing. Attorney General making remarks, which is very worrying.
We are doing offshore investigations. So I have foreign asset recovery companies, okay, or personnel that are helping me, experts that are helping me to trace assets abroad.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are doing that.
And you do them simultaneously. We are
doing them simultaneously. Assess a matter, okay, and have serious responsibility, right, for your sector.
That's right.
Right. But when it comes to technical matters such as a construction project, you have technical people working on and advising the minister. So I don't know by what means a minister is going to be able to say that this IPC ought not to be paid because it is false.
Okay, so Attorney General, I make a comment, and this was in reference to the Siglimi issue. Now, the pronouncement near very worrying. Samseladi Anyani is asking him why or discontinue some of the cases or drop charges against the likes of my very good friend Collins Dada in the Siglimi issue. Now, Attorney General is talking about a year or dropping cases because a minister must be charged when some of the things, infractions, and here based on technical advice. I'll come and address that. But yes, Attorney General, briefly on this.
Opinion that this ought not to have gone to trial in the first place. There is no point wasting the state's resources in conducting a trial when I know that down the line, all right, the state is going to lose. That will be reckless. That will be professionally, and in fact, it will be unethical on my part to assess a matter, come to the determination that there is reasonable doubt, the evidence doesn't stand up, and then I say, okay, you know what, just so that I satisfy, the public, let this, continue. No Attorney General should be conducting himself or herself in that way.
Now, no Attorney General should conduct himself.
Great. Individuals who are associated with the NDC, do you regret your early decisions involving, nolly prosequi filings and the famous 60% plea bargains?
No, I don't. And Samson, you've known me for many years. If I don't believe in something, I wouldn't do it. And when I came into office, I did an objective professional assessment of all the pending cases. And remember, I keep reminding people that I was involved on the other side as defense attorney.
Muntie Adia Attorney General, Yebeko reading the Constitution. Muntie Adia Attorney General. Attorney General said he was involved in the other side as a defense prosecution. Okay, so now Attorney General, Yenti Adia Obabeka. Yenti.
Assessment of all the pending cases. And remember, I keep reminding people that I was involved on the other side as defense attorney, right? If I didn't believe in the innocence of my clients, I would not, in some cases, I would not have, participated in, their, as part of their defense team, okay? So I had an insider view of most of the things that happened. So for instance, you take, Sagleme, okay? Sagleme, by all standards, was poorly investigated, all right? And the charges were poorly thought through. I'm saying this with all due respect to the people who drafted the charges, to the, state attorneys who were involved. I believe in their professionalism and I respect, their knowledge of criminal law a lot, all right? In fact, some of them are better than I am when it comes to criminal law. But I did an objective assessment. And so I give the Sagleme case as an example. Now, if you look at the case, they were talking about $200 million, all right, of funds, that were misused or lost to the state as a result of the actions of the persons who were charged, including my then client, Collins Dowda, all right? Well, we did an assessment of it. Collins Dowda was charged with causing financial loss to the tune of $200 million. But Collins Dowda was in the ministry for a very short period. At the time that he was leaving, only $94 million had been expended.
Attorney General said, oh no, because now or insider knowledge, and then the boy money concluded say our charges near week. But the Constitution says something very different and it's very clear. Yanko read Article 284. Now yen read Article 284. Now already Article 284. Article 284 says that a public officer shall not put himself in a position where his personal interests conflict or is likely to conflict with the performance of his office. Tienye, Article 284. I say, where a public officer shall not put himself in a position where his personal interest conflict. So Attorney General no a lawyer ma Collins Dowda, and then because now lawyer ma Collins Dowda now our insider report and obey Attorney General and we use the 2 years Attorney General and the track case in him onto us. Meanwhile, say a week here, it should have been the court which will say that evidence a yediabano and yet enough. Attorney General using the discretionary powers within the Constitution, under the Constitution. But even in the usage of the discretionary powers, Article 295B, 296B, it talks about the use of discretionary powers. So when you are using discretionary powers, it must not be arbitrary, it must not be capricious, it must not be biased. So using privileged information, you will gain it as a defense lawyer to later drop charges as Attorney General, it creates a perception of bias. So Attorney General now or defense attorney, Emma Collins Dowda. na ene waba be attorney general ose wa drop a charges against Collins Dada ose yanyi ni say oye attorney general oye fair but he has forgotten says we attorney general no or dropping cases in one although a discretion so about dropping cases but it violates the spirit of fairness. It undermines the public confidence and it places the attorney general in a position, a constitution, forbidden clearly. Was this the attorney general or a public officer? Now, be you show discretionary powers. It must not be arbitrary. It must not be capricious. Again, you should not put yourself in a place. Now, even if the intentions were pure, and a do attorney general, because of Justice Rimside, the former constitutional law lecturer who is also a friend, a very good friend, but I must say this in the interest of governance. Even if the intentions were pure, now clearly it appears as conflict of interest. If so, you're attorney general, now the catcher say, "Oh, now you defense attorney for a client, and now be attorney general into a case anymore." Again, minister no, attorney general make a point to the fact that why is the minister being held liable for technical construction errors, and that they relied on expert and cannot be expected say ombe detected a false interim payment certificate. Now, I don't agree with the attorney general. The constitution disagrees with you because the preamble of the constitution demands probity and accountability. Attorney general, you are aware. The frame may be a vicarious liability, ultimate responsibility. Now, this is a case where Attorney General under Ayi, Yankongo read Article 67, Article 76. Article 76. Article 76 say, the cabinet shall assist the president in determination of general policy of government. The cabinet, it's the Attorney General, who are part of cabinet. Although you are a minister may not be a technical engineer, but they are custodians of public funds. If it's a minister, no, and they also sign. So they are responsible. So mobile oversight responsibility. Ama every adebia edebromo a Jessica free the public in the hall. It is an attorney general that said there were technical errors and infractions, and for that matter, the minister na yedi a public funds and no man or no any oversight responsibility. We cannot hold them into accountable. What kind of logic is this, Attorney General? So, OKATAKYIE say, Collins Dada, no a minister, and on the advice of technical people, 18 will release this, and for that matter, he cannot be held a year liable. Ignorance is not a defense. The fact that he did not know said there was error cannot be a defense for him. Ignorance can clearly not be a defense. So, Attorney General, like I said, it was Attorney General, please, respectfully, your position is a bit worrying. You are becoming more of a media general than Attorney General. Respectfully said, you are becoming more of a media general than Attorney General. Again, Attorney General says it is reckless, unethical, and waste of state resources to pursue a case he believes the state may lose. But justice to me is not a gamble. Attorney General, what the man for court on TNA? It is not just about CIG Sika. That is why I have a problem with a yewo opposition. I want to say, and grofo we are man for the Sika or mobile plea bargain. No more than 70%, 60% bar obeje. It is worrying because one of the fundamental principles of punishment is deterrence. Justice is a duty, and one of the fundamental principles of punishment say you do be a court, you punish nipa no, and you nipa no be sofa ne nkoanti ani hia. They will say best serve as a deterrence. Nema afufro kon no so mu be wie sika. Now with the current posture of the Attorney General, where man for wie sika also will negotiate with them for plea bargain and a fire eti wowura you can say dufo aba wabetua sika ni bi eti me so wonko ene ne sadia minya kwan na me ba public officer all I have to do is that ese me wie sika ni bebre na me wie bebre na oba na ache me a me plea bargaining metua 70% na mageko. So it is not just about a year or punishing nipa na year sika, but the public interest demands a trial not merely for conviction, but also to establish a record, to expose the wrongdoing, to protect the public purse. That is what we are talking about. If it's a constitution about probity, accountability, social justice, and the account, the only way you can deter people and uphold the sovereign will of the people, which is here exposing a wrongdoing, which is here protecting the public purse, it is about prosecuting the people just so the others will not have an incentive to get into such matters. So although dropping cases may save money, as you are saying, it may help the exchequer, but it does not help justice. It does not help accountability. It does not help Ghana Attorney General. So please, this analogy is very bad. Your stance is very bad. It's a weak stance. If indeed you want to, medical can say MPP ni bia wi amanfo no a monjeli nipa no. And MPP ni bia no e ba be supporting kwase asem. Se minya akwanya se meso manfo na me wie no me wi amanfo na monjeli me. I must be able to be responsible for my own actions. So the Constitution of Ghana is not just a suggestion. It is not optional. You cannot come and sit here and say that you must prosecute the people. Because the Constitution is the supreme law of Ghana. And when the Attorney General's actions or inactions appear to contradict the Constitution, yen prosecuting Crawford to serve as a deterrent. For me, Ghana deserves better. Ghana deserves a transparent government. Ghana deserves accountability. The Attorney General position way is very wrong. You need to move away from it. You cannot treat this business as usual. Say Attorney General say. Attorney General say. That's the same side. Please tell your boss. I know that I know a call hacker crowd fetch. And I know a call hacker crowd fetch in Nigeria. But in the interest of governance, some of these conversations must be had. With the greatest of respect to the Attorney General, with the greatest of respect to you, Justice Rimsai, I don't seek to undermine the authority of the Attorney General, but I believe that it is worrying. The position that your boss and your institution, your edifice is taking is a bit worrying. It needs to be checked. But the American say it needs to be checked. And the Attorney General, whether we like it or yes, clearly, you need to prosecute these cases. You need to prosecute them. You're moving away from a year Attorney General and Seminona. Let's go and check Bank of Ghana leakage via leaked report from Bank of Ghana. We suggest that Bank of Ghana recapitalization of banks. Recapitalization of banks. Our recapitalization of banks, you will start the relevant questions. Recapitalization of microfinance institutions. Recapitalization. The questions that needs to be asked, we are going to ask here the very important questions. Bank of Ghana, you be paying. Mo yes, I deal with. Emma, a banks in be weak. Now banks in be weak, And I could afford to na buy the mobile ye be kulusi. Obekaya, and no be no mkoma, yes, a man's water be near this car. Capital Bank near the coffee fast. And this your mama and the mom. Now, leaked report shows that Bank of Ghana saw a recapitalization of banks. Almost microfinance institutions. Almost no, because almost say a good for the pencil and this is for. So we are asking the questions. The issue of Ponzi schemes, Yakai men's good. Yakai a year back home friends say, okay, so this is the report. Now, oh, sorry, Bank of Ghana reporter I've sent my people to do a lot of work. They are going to, but we are asking the questions. Men's go DNA been now for the microfinance institutions. Yeah, we start the relevant questions. DKM DNA been now. You will start the relevant questions. Now, Bank of Ghana see new reforms here, and it's just a takeover because almost you microfinance no more hono, MPP for anti-enya recapitalization. Never he ne see here. What is the real objectives? Ye de need dear. Now, is there a way to acquire control over private institutions and now dear beya? Ninyina ye de any a dear chiri. NDC and they demonize the banking sector. NDC call it reckless. They call it political. It will mabanom so more year recapitalization. As ye penny ye de any dear chiri. One baby no more say movie the baseline capital of a year microfinance. Normally a kosoro. Afena nkomono air chimba. We are going to have the conversation into detail in the coming days. The Bank of Ghana won't mean van koma. You do not need to proceed. Says reforms and be good by microfinancer. Where a leaked report from Bank of Ghana. If a big good microfinancer, you cannot proceed. And as a money be cheskedia, ye di any dear chiri. We will be in Surubia, money be cheskedia, ye di any dear chiri. The records are there. Let's recap what we did tonight. Tonight, we were able to prove that although NDC say omocha John Mama buying, also omocha a year COVID-19 levy mo. Now so meno kasa omuguswa edge COVID-19 levy no. Enti killnet a buying. Meno kasa gold board ebe kachere so Bank of Ghana so Ghana boka abno se asare as subjected the governor of Bank of Ghana. When to me and prove it, see a boka a kufa the pencil good for reserve. It's a killnet a buying. We were able to prove to you tonight, say between NPP and NDC, the most corrupt political party, NPP, it is NDC. Again, we were able to prove to you tonight that Attorney General and Agrini so obe fight corruption. Media prosecution yen the chance so obe call into the docket, obe call into a court. No ako face court no the evidence ako. Media prosecutions and the chance are. Aha, for the records, meeting OKATAKYIE AFRIFA Mensa. We keep on bringing you the wo wadwene enko so. Ye bie wani ekọ ba bia wo wani enko ye. Se be ya killnet aban ntimi ntum futuro enwu wani. I came just to serve you and maybe I be besini. Thank you. Bye bye.
Nasa memu, I get to say ya, but ya can say.